Great to have you here. Now, Debbie, you are no stranger to our platform. In fact, the first time I met Debbie was when you gave a talk at the Spiritual Center Church.
Absolutely. So many years ago. Sure.
Now, in that talk, Debbie gave a guided meditation to connect with a pet. And I don't know if you noticed, but I connected to a dog we used to have when I was a teenager. It was just so powerful. I had tears streaming down my face. And then you finished up the talk and I had to get up and give thanks and so on. I still had these tears streaming down my face, but it was just such a powerful moment and really showed to me how powerful this work can be and how easy it can be to connect to an animal. But my question is, how did you first discover that you could communicate with animals? I mean, did you watch a Dr. Dolittle, like the movie where the animals start communicating?
Not quite like that. So I've always loved animals since a child. My mom used to introduce me as her daughter that would walk into a room and greet the animals before she'd greet the people. And nothing much has changed, I'm afraid. So there was that deep love of animals. And then I went nursing and I nursed for 27 years. And in the time of nursing, I had a speciality, which was neonatology, which is the intensive care of newborn babies, premature and ill babies. And I was really aware of the fact through that time that there was more to the communication with those babies on ventilators, tubes, pipes all over the place, but that there was more to their communication than just a baby crying or a baby lying quietly. And that planted a seed. And then one fine day, I was on holiday in Pretoria, and my sister, who's now deceased, she said to me, have you heard about animal communication? So I had started my practice by that time already. It was like 5 years into my practice and working with humans. And then humans had said, can I work with the animals? And I started doing healing work on the animals. And then my sister, also Marcelle, by the way, had said, have I heard about animal communication? And I said, no, never heard about it. And she said, maybe try it. So I phoned the lady. It was Jenny Schoen, who's a very well-known animal communicator in Johannesburg. And I said, I'd like to know more about your course. And I said, I live in Cape Town. And she said, well, we're in Cape Town next week. Come and do the course. So I went and did the course, and it was easier than what I thought. But I realized that if one's heart is open to animals, that anybody can do this. I mean, literally anybody. And I know people look at me askew when I say that, but we can all, just like you picked up on your animal guide being an animal that you'd had in your life before, we are all able to do this. So that was the start of a journey that has now lasted 22 years. And yeah, every day I still am absolutely amazed at the process, at how one can actually connect with these animals. And again, I'd like to say that we can all do it. So we just have to listen up, and you'd be amazed what you can hear.
Yeah. Okay. And Marcelle, how about you? Did you always know that you would work with animals?
I had a very interesting journey of where I was top student, have to be the doctor, the architect, the engineer, whatever. And all I wanted to do was work with animals. So I had to go through quite a challenge of letting my parents know that I'm not going to be the doctor and go into animal welfare. So I came across an NGO where I still am today, the Mdzananda Animal Clinic. And I started there in 2013. And actually, that's how I met Debbie, is through a company that was doing fundraisers for NGOs. And I visited one of the fundraisers where an animal communicator was speaking. I've never heard of animal communications until then. And there was Debbie presenting. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is a thing, And
her excitement.
I remember
so excitement. It was yesterday.
Really? And I think I started following or signing up to Debbie's newsletters, and then Debbie became my first teacher. And I think the courses I did was about 2015. So it's a long time ago. And just through process, doing some of Debbie's courses, a few other courses, I had a couple of years where I avoided it completely, then came back to it. And yeah, now for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been right back into it. But I've always been with animals. Yeah.
So, Debbie, when did you realize that you could teach the animal communication to others?
I've always had this thing in my mind that you don't do something properly until you can teach it. I mean, it's always been something in my head. I think it's the nurse in me that goes, you've got to be able to do both aspects to make, to almost like cement the knowledge. And people ask, so there were people there was a college of metaphysics that said, please, can you come and do a talk? And then people said, please, can you teach some students? And the classes started small, and it just happened. In my life, I realized that if things don't just happen, they're not going to happen. So they must just organically unfold, and it organically unfolded. At that stage, I was already teaching Reiki, so it wasn't as if teaching was something new to me, and it was easy to go into it. But because I know we can all do it, it's not a matter of me sitting there trying to get you to be able to do it. It's me opening your mind sufficiently so that you can do it. It's literally creating a platform so that you can go, hell, I can do this. So yeah, that's how it happened. I can't remember the exact year. It was early 2000s. And it just felt right for that to happen. And then, of course, the school, with school asking, and that just changed the whole nature of the courses, because the courses were very, very much my courses being held, under my banner. And then with the school saying, can I come and teach my information for them? I mean, it just really and truly created a whole new beast.
So, Marcelle, do you have pets? Have you always had pets from childhood?
Yes, I've always had pets. I actually have one of my pets, Lacey, who I grew up with, and she traveled through quite some traumatic things with me. And Lacey is my guide. She's always with me, or at least when I need her, she comes to me. But the little Baloo was actually one of the main reasons why I went into animal welfare, where I had quite a period where I was quite ill, and I then adopted Baloo as a recovery pet. And he was this size. His name was Tiny Tot at the time. And Baloo really helped me to recover. I had to get up in the morning and feed him and then walk him. And as I recovered, we learned so much together. And he taught me so much love and care and all these things. And that's where I really realized how much animals can bring into our world, not just companionship, but so much healing. And that really pushed me even further into wanting to help them, but knowing that they can help people in return as well. So Baloo's still with me today.
So Baloo is a dog?
Yes, he's a little dog.
So when you started on the courses with Debbie, who were you practicing with? Which animals were you practicing with?
Well, it mainly was Baloo, So Baloo's very in tune with everything. So Maddie only joined our family a little bit later. She is, however, very involved in the process now. When I do communications with clients, she always comes and lies by me. She's very much in tune. And otherwise, it was a lot of the welfare animals that I work with at Mdzananda Animal Clinic. Worked with a lot of them initially, and then just family and friends as well.
Okay. So explain to me how it works for you. So, the first time you're working with Baloo, what is the process? What's going through your mind? How does it actually happen?
Well, I think different animals have different ways. Sometimes, and it does happen quite often, where I might be walking along the promenade and a specific dog just looks you straight in the eye and starts sending you things. So it can be very quick like that. Otherwise, when, for example, in the shelter, when I know one little dog might need more healing, I will go and sit down and give specific time to them. So that would be, firstly, going into the shelter is very excitable and the dogs are everywhere, and so you really have to go sit with them and first let them play and be all over you, and then ground with them, and then go into tuning into them on a different level. So yeah, it kind of depends on the animal you engage with.
So sometimes it could be quick and easy.
Yeah.
So you're walking along the promenade and they try and send you a message. Does that come as a picture in your mind? Does it come as a thought? Or?
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely more visual.
Yeah.
So I will see pictures, colors, images. Don't hear or smell things too much. I can feel senses in my body.
Okay.
So can definitely, feel if there's a little bit of pain or discomfort, anxiety, heartache, feelings of their feelings that I feel a lot. So yeah, that's the physical and how it comes out in the way that I sense it. Sometimes I can hear the actual voice as well. So I will hear what different type of character voices they have, but yeah, those are the main ways that I pick up information.
Yeah, we sometimes do that with my family. Like we make up the voices that we think our animals have.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure we probably intuitively quite close to what they actually
pretty much. Yeah.
How does it work for you, Debbie? I mean, how do you receive the messages from the animals?
So I'm clairsentient more than anything else. So I feel information. And that information then becomes a sound or an image. So when people say to me, how do you get it? I say, I see feel. Or I hear feel. And so it's definitely, it's that solar plexus information reception that seems to be the strongest. And that would be as far as personality is concerned. It would certainly be as far as conditions, health conditions, emotional conditions are concerned, then I'll actually feel them first. But, when Marcel's speaking about being able to connect just like that, there is definitely that part of that communication. So in my own home, it's so much like having children. We don't speak to them all the time. We don't check in with them all the time. So it's a little chirp here and a little chirp there. And that's how I'd get it from them. But for working with clients, it's very much a process of sitting down. I prefer working remotely, but many people prefer having a home visit, so a one-on-one visit, in which case, well, I do that. But I sit down generally with a photograph and just tell this animal that it is the most important thing in my life at this time. And it absolutely is. There's nothing that's more important at this time, and that it is the most beautiful dog, cat, whatever it is. And that creates the open heart for me and the relaxation for the animal. And then the information flows, it just starts coming through. And some animals, just like humans, are more talkative than others. Some will say to you, I don't want to speak.
I was just going to ask that question.
I just don't want to speak, and I'm just not interested in speaking to you. And then, sometimes there's some bribing that happens. Well, if you do, you will get a bone, or you'll get a this or that or the next thing. And it often works, but sometimes when it doesn't work, you just know, come back again tomorrow and connect again. Maybe they'll be in a different mood. If animals are really ill, and my practice has gone very much in that direction. So where I mostly deal with really sick animals. And those animals we do minimal conversation with. So the conversation goes far more about, have you got pain? Is the medication working? Is there something more we can do for you? So it's a different form of communication versus you like your pink ball and you want to go on both your walks every day, etc., etc. So, I think it just is, things unfold. I always say to my students that you will get information in the sense that is strongest to you. And if you, for instance, are a foodie, you'd be more inclined to smell the food than see the food. If you are an artist, you might see the food more than smell the food. So for everybody, they've got strengths, intuitive senses that are stronger than others. And it's creating a picture to form a whole reading. That is, for me, what it's all about. And it doesn't matter how I get it, as long as I'm getting it.
So I remember one of our talks that we hosted on psychic skills on the Moyo platform. We did a survey, and 80% more than 80% of the people said they were mostly clairsentient, which is sort of feeling like you
Yes.
described. And I think only a small percentage of people said or describe themselves as clairvoyant.
Mhm.
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter what your strong psychic senses are, all of them can work.
Makes no difference.
Yeah.
You know, Amelia Kincaid, who's a world-renowned animal communicator, she smells disease process. So she would smell cancer. She would smell arthritis. And that would be working on a photograph. She's not even with the animal.
Yeah.
So for her, that was a very strong sense. But everybody works with different senses. And the idea is to grow your senses. So if clairsentience is your strongest sense, I mean, I'll never forget the first time I actually heard a song being sung by an animal. And I went, oh, I'm hearing the sound. And it was Oobla Dee Oobla Da by the Beatles, which was actually a little before my time.
Yeah.
And I went like, what are you trying to tell me over here? And it was such a wonderful message. And since then, like tie a yellow ribbon around an old oak tree. I mean, that was really, really before my time.
Yeah.
And that has become a message for me. So there's a message to be told. And sometimes I get a song and the animal will say, it's not for you to know. Just tell them. So you tell the guardian,
Okay.
and the guardian must go and Google whatever it is and see what the message is. It's a personal message. It's not for me. So there are many, many different ways that the information can come. You know, for some people, they will see the chicken running by. Chicken's my favorite food, well, their favorite food. For another person, they would actually see the word chicken written. So
Yes.
everybody just gets it in a different way. And the idea is that we're getting the same information, but in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. And Marcelle, at the clinic, I suspect there are a lot of animals that come in that are perhaps traumatized in some way.
There are, yes. Specifically, our clinic section has a lot of physical trauma. We have a lot of animals that get knocked over by cars, lots of illnesses. And then our shelter section, surprisingly, most of our shelter animals are actually really happy little creatures, but we do have some that turn into long-term stays, which I have found is mainly because they have blocks in themselves, that they aren't feeling confident that they are valuable and that they deserve a home, whether it's from history or whatever form of reason that is. So there's a lot of them, and they unfortunately stay stuck. So that is where a lot of help is often needed for them to try and release those blocks, start believing in themselves again. And I think as Debbie's taken the direction into healing, my direction has gone mostly into behavior. What I've noticed is every client or animal that has come on my path has had some form of a behavior because of an emotional or a traumatic experience. And I've kind of become the animal therapist. We go into a therapist session essentially and try and help that animal through whatever is making it emotional, to shift the way he's thinking of it into, let's look at it in a new perspective. And once they're able to change that mindset, then the magic can start happening, you know. So unfortunately, I have found that a lot of the shelter animals, because they have often been moved from home to home to home, they really struggle to shift that mindset. But I do believe that magic can happen, and one just has to help them believe it as well.
Do you have any examples to illustrate this in some way?
Yes. Oh man, I have a beautiful one. So there was a beautiful little dog named Cuba, and Cuba was actually with us for, must have been about 9 years. Cuba he was the typical Afrikaners looking, the black dog. No one just looks over him, you know, because he doesn't stand out. He's not fluffy and cute. And Cuba stayed with us for so long without one interest. No one showed interest in him. Then decided, let's get a few people together and do what we call sacred activism, and all connect with Cuba, tell him how phenomenal he is, and, you know, help him to understand he's worthy and he wants a home, he deserves a home, and ask him, what type of home would you like? All this. And while we were chatting to him, you could actually feel him, you know, just shedding that energy, and kind of picture him just glowing with light. I kid you not, 2 days later, he is adopted. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite story.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing what healing can do for. I mean,
That's
you know, I see it in my work with people all the time, but to hear about it that happening with animals is
Yeah.
it shouldn't be surprising. It's just heartwarming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Debbie, you must have had some interesting examples in your time working with animals. Anything come to mind?
There certainly have been, and interestingly, it's a story that totally fascinates me. It was with Marcelle, as Marcelle was doing a mentorship program with me, and yeah, it must have been a good 5 years ago or so, if not more. And we were, somebody a client of mine had contacted me and said that her dog had started walking skew, and this was just the way she put it, that Diesel had started walking skew, and the vet couldn't find anything wrong with Diesel, and please could I have a look-see. So I tune into the dog, and immediately I feel this thing in the right side of his head. And I go, this doesn't feel good. This is disturbing me. So normally when dogs walk skew like it, it's because there's an ear problem, so vestibular disease. And I mean, I went to those ears, and those ears felt absolutely fine, but just this like density in the right side of the head. I send to Marcelle and I just say, this is Diesel, he's walking skew, see what you can get. And she sends back to me, and she says to me, there's something funny, which I can't remember her exact words, but there's something not right in the right side of his head. So I go, unfortunately, this is so. So I messaged the mom. I'd worked with her dogs for years before that. I messaged the mom, and I say, you know, I'm sorry to say that there's something that I can feel in the right side of the head. It is not for me as an animal communicator to diagnose anything. I can just tell you that there's something not right in the right side of the head. So she sends back to me, and she says to me, what do I suggest? So I said, you know, if it was my dog, I would MRI scan. Bearing in mind that MRIs are like 5,000 Rand, or anything between 5,000 and 10,000 Rand. And I realized that this is an expensive thing. So she speaks to the vet. The vet says, look, let's go for it. You know, we may just as well. So the dog goes off to Onderstepoort, because that's where they lived. And he has his MRI scan, nothing. The head is perfectly fine. They can't find what's wrong with this dog. And eventually they say, look, it must be some vestibular thing that we're not picking up on. Sorry, we don't know. And they discharged the dog still walking skew. To the day, 3 months after the dog started walking skew, the mother was diagnosed with a tumor in the right side of her head. Well, until this day, I still get tears in my eyes. It completely blew me away, because I thought, you know, I don't understand this. I don't understand anything about it. You know, I do not understand how this messaging happens in that way. But it was amazing to look at it and go, this animal is prepared to carry something energetically on your behalf. The mom had surgery, she had the tumor removed, and the dog started walking straight, and still walks straight. So that for me was maybe one of the most remarkable experiences in my practice. I mean, there's been many. There have been many, many over the years, but I'm so humbled by the fact that information can be picked up like that, and it's got nothing to do with the animal. Nothing physically to do with the animal, you know. So for me, that was really and truly something that stood out hugely. But there's so many stories to tell, you know. I mean, I could spend the evening just telling stories about animals and the most amazing things that they've done, and how that, you know, how they've done it. I marvel at them.
Are some species more communicative than others?
I don't find that personally.
Yeah.
You know, you get quiet horses, you get talkative horses, you get quiet dogs, and in the same way, talkative ones, and so it goes. You can, for myself, I can tell you that they're different personalities, and I know that cats communicate differently to dogs. Cats would be so happy to hear that. They will communicate differently, and horses will communicate differently. But they just, and wild animals, you know, when you're speaking to dolphins, when you're speaking to rhinos, that the communication is, you know that you're speaking to a different species. You know, this is not the same. But basically communication is communication. And they will speak to you. They are so relieved to have somebody listening. You know, for them, it's like, you know, I've heard so many animals say, you can hear us, you know, and then I hear them saying, oh, you're the talking lady, you know, so they even give you names down the line. Animals think that most of us are deaf. You know, they really think the human race is just deaf. And because like we talk and talk and talk and nobody hears us. But yeah, we can all hear them.
Okay, so just a reminder for our audience, you will have an opportunity to post a picture of your pet with a question that you would like to hear the answer for. We also need you to let us know the name of the pet, whether it's alive or whether it's dead, and the sex of the pet. And we're going to take a look at those. I see some of you have already posted your animals, so we're going to take a look at that in a minute. But before we get to the animal communication, we're going to go into a short meditation, and you're going to have an opportunity to just experience part of this meditation. And before we get there, I just want to ask Marcelle one question about the importance of connecting at the heart. How does that work for you, and why is it so important?
For me, how I see animal communication, as Debbie has said, it's something we can all do. But how I see it is that actually it's not about me. It's not about me being the communicator, doing it right, doing it wrong. It's really about me being a vehicle for source and for source to work through me, for a vehicle for the animal to have a voice. And the only way I can do that is by opening my heart to them. And I think with all animals and with people, why would they want to open up to us if we have a different motive than just love? And that's really how I use it, is when I want to connect with an animal, it's about just opening my heart, even sometimes or mostly just to witness them, just to give them a space of, I hear you, I will be there for you, I love you fully, I love you unconditionally. And as we share that love and openness with them, they feel comfortable to do that back. But so I always try and make my heart the center of the communication and to remove my ego as much as possible, because as a human, the ego gets involved very quickly, and that's where the problems come in. And really try my best to just be a channel for source and for the animal to have a voice.
And you've got a meditation for us to experience this, is that right?
Well, yeah, we can go for it.
Over to you then.
And I want to invite everyone who's listening and watching also to join in, so that you can open up your own heart and experience some communication with your own animals. So we can just start off by closing your eyes gently and taking a deep breath in all the way deep into your lungs, and then releasing slowly. And as you feel your body in the comfortable chair that you're sitting in, just focus firstly on your feet touching the floor. Imagine that there are great big roots growing out of your feet, all the way deep, 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 deep into the ground. And imagine from the ground, from Mother Earth and all the wonderful source of power that is within the ground, just sucking all that energy up through these roots. Feel it going up through your feet, through your ankles, into your knees, up into your hips, and slowly all the way up to your mind. And now that we've taken up some of the support from the earth, let's open up our mind to connect to source. And you can do this by really concentrating on the top of your head and imagining that there's a beautiful flower opening gently its petals. And as it's opening, there's space for a beautiful silver light to connect, dropping down from high above you, from source, straight into your mind. And see yourself just connecting your mind, the energy from the ground and source. Beautiful beam of silver light just flowing through you, up and down, up and down. And in this moment, while you're connected, you can just say with intention, may my ego be removed. May I be a vehicle for source to work through me. May I be a vehicle for the animals to be heard, to be witnessed, to give them a voice. And slowly just focusing on the third eye to open that, like petals opening up so that you can pick up on beautiful messages from the animals. And in your throat, opening up that beautiful petal so that you have the voice to speak for them. And in your heart, opening up that petal so that you can feel all their feelings and hold them in compassionate love. And in your solar plexus, opening up that petal. Your sacral chakra, opening up that petal. And then your base, opening up that petal, keeping you grounded through this process. And one last time we ask, may our egos be removed, and may we be a channel for the animals to be heard. One deep breath in and release. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Okay, thank you, Marcelle. It was a beautiful meditation. And now we've got a few examples. People have sent through their photos. We're going to take a look at some of these. And Debbie, maybe you want to just find one that feels appropriate. And let us know. How many have we got, Josh? Okay, way more than we could ever get through. But we can just
let us start,
through.
yes. Let us not waste time.
Okay.
Okay, well, since Legend came up first, let me connect with Legend and answer that question. Okay, so the first thing that I pick up from Legend is that he has a really strong personality and did not take kindly to the fact that he needed to go to a new home. It wasn't his, the plan that he had for himself wasn't exactly that. But now that that has happened, he's very much looking around him, and he's noticing that things around him look far better than what he imagined. So there are little highlights in his life that are creating good comfort for him. About the guardians that he now has, he finds there are two. I pick up two people, and the one person is quite stern. That is the person that he doesn't lean towards. However, the other person seems to have a gentler manner, and I can't pick up if they're male or female, but it's more the personality than anything else. And that person is somebody that he would listen to, that he would, when I say listen to, that he would take note of, because this is not a horse that wants to listen. This is a horse that wants to say how he feels. And besides the fact that he is absolutely beautiful and knows it, he very much does want people to hear him first. So that guardian that does listen well is certainly the guardian that he has a better relationship with. He is noticing good things about his life. So not an unhappy horse.
Okay, great, thank you. Marcelle, are you picking up anything from legend?
Well, I'm having a little doggy screaming.
Okay.
So and is there a little doggy with quite like furry ears?
Oh, these beautiful animals.
There he is. Birdie. So this is Birdie. It was interesting because when I was driving here, I was opening up my mind to see, are there any little animals that would like to come chat to us? And Birdie was one of them. So Birdie, I do sense, has actually got quite a little bit of a cocky personality. In this picture, he looks a little bit sad, but behind that there is a little bit of a swagger and a cockiness. Right now, he doesn't seem to be particularly overjoyed with whatever is going on in his life. He's feeling a bit of discomfort with it, and a little bit of sadness or uncertainty about the situation. Also not quite feeling heard by his family. He would very much like I think it is his mom, his human mom in particular, to spend a little bit more time connecting with him and actually listening. He's telling me that his mom is very much able to connect on a spiritual level and to hear messages, but that she's a little bit too busy in her own life. And he really misses that connection. So there's a part of him that would like mom to ground, for mom to use this opportunity of sitting with Birdie and grounding with him, to actually use that as a space for her to ground as well. And it will be a beautiful space where they can connect together, but where she'll be able to really hear what Birdie wants to say to her. He has a deep wisdom that he would like to share with his family, but he's not feeling heard right now. And that's part of why he's not listening to his name when he's being called. He's like, but why would I come to you if you don't want to listen to me, you know? So if that attention and beautiful calmness and quality time is given to him, and it can be as little as 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, just sitting with him, gently stroking him. Hi, Birdie, how's your day been? Or even if you've had a really stressful day, go and sit with him and pour out your soul to him. He wants to listen. And then he'll be acknowledged and he'll be like, now I'm Birdie. Now I will listen to you. So there we go.
Thanks, Marcelle. The picture on the left, possum, it looks like quite a difficult situation. Have you guys had a look at that?
Yeah, so many years ago, I stopped tracking animals, and my reason for for stopping the work was the fact that I overinvest. So I found myself crawling around the streets of a neighborhood in Cape Town at 4 o'clock in the morning while the humans were sleeping in their bed. And I thought, what are you doing, Debbie? So the minute that I see somebody's missing, I go, no, I can't do this. Not for me. But what I can tell you is that I certainly, as I connect with Possum, I see a veil. And the veil very much indicates to me that she has crossed the veil. So I'm literally going on the fact that I'm seeing a veil through, right across, picking up the same thing. So I would say that there's a very good chance that Possum has crossed into spirit. I do know with trackings that one of the difficulties with trackings is that often when an animal is newly dead, so they die traumatically, they don't realize that they're dead. So they communicate with you as if they're alive. But this is 15th of March, which is a while ago. So, I'm sorry that is what I'm picking up, but that is what I'm picking up.
But I do feel that Possum actually, there's a reason why he popped up on his screen. He definitely... She definitely wanted to come through. I feel her very strongly. And interesting that the two of them are next to each other, because these are the two faces that I saw when I was driving home here. She wants to come through very strongly with a very forceful message of saying to her family that she is okay, and that she can sense that there has been a lot of worry, a lot of pain, a lot of anxiety, trauma caused by her being missing. And she wants you to be able to let go. She is okay. She is happy. She's on the other side. She's not in pain. She is completely at ease, and she would like you to be at ease right now. And she's encouraging you. Maybe it's not for you the right time, but she's encouraging that you can open your heart to a new friend, maybe whenever you're ready. But she would like you to have that love in your life again.
Okay, thanks, Marcelle. Thanks, guys. Josh, I'm interested in the first slide. The horse on the right is in pain. Legacy is the name of the horse. You guys take a look at that. Maybe we can help Legacy.
Okay, from my own perspective, what I immediately feel as I'm tuning into Legacy is that there's something in the shoulder going down to about the elbow. I know in horsey talk it's not called the elbow, but we all understand elbow. So that there's something that goes down the side like that, and it feels as if there might be something in the neck that actually creates it. So as I'm seeing Legacy walk, I see this movement of this leg going like this, and it feels as if the leg is compensatory to something that's happening in the neck. That sensation goes right down into the hoof. So it feels more to me as if it's nerve related rather than musculoskeletal, but that the compensatory aspect of it is musculoskeletal, to try and create the balance. I am getting the sense that it would be good for Legacy to be fed up rather than down. And I do understand with horses that that's not how they generally do things, but there needs to be something that can actually release this, almost like the energy that's caught up over here. And that's what it feels like. It feels like it's coming from the neck and that it's creating this movement. I hope that helps.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything you're picking up there?
All right, let's see if we can find another example. Which of these are you guys drawn to?
Just trying to read that question. I need to, for Pebble, I need to know where she could possibly be from and how old she could be. I'm not sure what you mean by on the property. Oh, it's the wrong That's what's happened. Okay, well, let me go with Pebble. Besides the fact that she's absolutely gorgeous.
And she knows it.
And she knows it. Where she could be from. So when I look at her, it really feels as if she had a home before. That she had people, and that there was something that happened in that family, and therefore she didn't want to leave. She didn't want to leave wherever she was. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I see her, she's sitting, but she's sitting as if she sits on a fat bottom. So it's not like I'm just sitting, I'm sitting, she's like holding the space where she is. And we do know that cats are territorial, but she definitely chose not to move. And she struggled on the street. It wasn't easy for her. It was a big decision for her to make. So I would say that she comes from a space where she received a lot of love before, but that her choice was not to move on. I am notoriously bad at ages, so I'm not even going to think of going there. What I do, however, see from the healing perspective is that she's got some pigmentation on her nose. Please be very careful about sun exposure with those little pink noses. I normally ask my clients to take photographs of the ears and the noses, and you do a photograph on the same day every month, and you make sure that the pigmentation hasn't grown, because they get cancer, and it is so easy to treat if you catch it early. So, sorry, I don't want to create any concern, but the healer in me can't leave that little nose. So please just watch her little nose.
Okay, thanks, Debbie.
Anything about
age related? I've got around 8 years old. She's definitely not youngster, and definitely not older, but she's got that maturity about already, and quite a mature, or let's say wise, or many traveled lifetimes soul.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys want to take a look at
Gajima? Gajima's already saying that she wants to be in a separate camp. While I was speaking to Pebble, she was saying, yes, I want to be in a camp. I want to be in a camp. So, I can't see who she wants to be with, but I feel that yes, there is that. I'm not sure if she is Gajima, or if you are meaning that is she going to go and be with Gajima? But I feel that she would like to be moved from wherever she is at this time.
Okay, Josh, maybe you find us one more, and then we'll need to move on.
No. How do you choose?
Are you going to go?
Tanka. Okay, why are you as nervous as you sometimes seem to be? Yes, I can actually kind of feel her little body shaking in those nerves. And there's a little sense that comes up to me, is that even though she is nervous in situations, there's a little bit of it being put on as well, so that her family can really see, I need love and attention.
Just called you a traitor. You're a traitor.
Oh no, I'm sorry. So yes, she is nervous, and she does. That's part of her personality. She's a soft little poodle as she is on the outside. She's in the inside. But definitely also just wants that extra love during that time. And sometimes she puts it on a little bit hard, so that she can get that extra loving.
Okay.
As far as Bruno's concerned, the word that comes up is congruity. I mean, it's a big word, but it's as if the family need to be on the same page. It feels to me as if there's a division. There's a division. Not everybody thinks the same way. So some people are pulling in one direction, some in another direction. And that is what she's needing from the family. She's needing he's needing for the family to sit down and make a decision, or make decisions together, because they affect him. And it confuses him. that there are some people that think one way and some that think another. So maybe you can just get the family together and sit down and have a little chat and find out how to do things that will make Bruno's life easier to actually navigate, because it feels as if he's quite divided as to which way he should go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks very much, guys. I think that has been quite amazing. And I think this is something that Moyo should do again, because I think there were so many animals that were submitted.
There were.
We couldn't get through them all, but I think we should plan something where we have more time for, and maybe get a panel of animal communicators.
Yeah,
Nice idea.
Yeah. So I just want to move on. We're going to, just for the audience, we're going to go to the Q&A shortly. And these are not for questions about your animals per se, but about animal communication or general questions about animals. So not for animal communication, if that makes sense. Now, in a few days' time, the 4th of June, you are hosting the Mdzananda Day. Tell us about this. Tell us a little bit about, firstly, about Mdzananda Animal Clinic and what happens on the day that's the open day.
So Mdzananda is now 25 years old. It is an animal clinic and shelter in the heart of Khayelitsha, and we can pretty much provide anything that an animal needs. We have a hospital, we have a theatre, we have mobile clinics, consultation rooms. We do a lot of education with the community. We very much believe in helping people from the community being the best pet owners they can be, instead of just removing animals. So we really try and work with community members to really be those awesome pet guardians. So a lot of education. And then we do have a shelter section, which was mainly going to be the part of this day, which is between Mdzananda and the School of Intuition and Healing. So it is a day where people who are animal communicators or healers, or even if you just have a big open heart for animals, you're welcome to come to Mdzananda and spend about 2 hours with us, using your unique skills to help these animals. And as I mentioned previously, there are animals who are currently stuck in the shelter who definitely have blocks. And I would love us to help them realize their value and help them manifest their own homes, help them release those blocks, and dream with them. And for the healers, there are also shelter animals that could use the physical healing. Some of them do have physical constraints. There's also hospital cases where physical healing will come in handy. So this is really just a space for us to really use our awesome love and open-heartedness for these animals. I do want to just say that there are a lot of people who are nervous about going into nonprofit organizations with animals. They're scared of seeing the pain. I have a completely different take on this. When you go into a shelter, you tell them, aren't you lucky that you are here? Oh my gosh, you're going to get the best home. And really show them the amazingness of being there. And when they're sick in the hospital, wow, your parents brought you here and look how much better you're getting. So not going and telling them, oh, shame, I feel your pain, and oh my gosh, all these animals in the shelter, because then we're telling them you're in a bad situation, and then they get more distressed. So the clinic is a place of healing in its natural self. And we're just bringing more healing with the people who are coming on that day. So,
yeah, I like that a lot. Great. Well, thank you very much, guys. It has been so enjoyable to share the platform with you guys, and to see you guys operating with those animals and those photos. It was just really great. So thank you so much for being here.